afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another World Ag Talk show. It's really a pleasure to have you back now in 2023. My name is Lilian Benzi. I am WPO President Communication Officer, and I have the pleasure of interviewing and receiving here today Ali Badarne, that is the Chief of Food Systems Division of UNIDO. For the ones that are not so familiar with UNIDO, UNIDO is the the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, is specialized in promoting and accelerating sustainable industrial and economic development. And today we will explore with Ali the great partnership from WPO and UNIDO in the last 5 years. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you, Lilian. Happy New Year. I'm so happy to be with you in the talk show. It's just something nice to start the year with such a talk with WPO.
Great. So, Ali, we know that since 2017, WPO and UNIDO have an MOU that, in general terms, aims to fulfill some objectives towards a sustainable industrial development. So what does it mean in practical terms? What does MOU predict and what is being doing?
Well, I cannot believe it's already 5 years. So, the time has passed very quickly since we signed our partnership. But maybe the best way to explain how we ended up in this partnership and what does it mean and what we are doing is maybe to share with you and everybody how we ended knowing each other. Because that has also a reflection on the strong partnership we have. And it all started when UNIDO, as you mentioned, as a specialized agency, we are helping our member states. We have more than 160 governments that we are supporting with focus on developing countries. And maybe 10 years back, we were implementing a program for Lebanon, where we were supporting the food processing sector. And in that program, we knew that we have to address the issue of packaging, because those exporters and processors, they were facing the challenge when they export of certain issues and rejections because of packaging and labeling. So we had to do something with it, with the industry there. And this is where we started to think how we do it. So we supported the industries, and then we ended up establishing a national center in Lebanon to help serve the industry in the long run without UNIDO. And we invested our time and resources there. And that center, LebanPack now, ended up as a member of WPO, which was not actually in our plans. But because of this successful case we had in Lebanon, and the center managed to become a member of a global organization like WPO, they actually said, listen, UNIDO, it is only Lebanon, there's WPO, why we don't put you together as partners? So instead of only Lebanon coming, we have more and more developing countries joining the club. So in that spirit, we ended up negotiating a partnership with the main objective that we have more countries and more industries involved in the global network of WPO. So we advanced the issue of sustainable industrial development, and the packaging is in the heart of this one. So that's how it's a story we have to tell, because it reflects again the spirit of the partnership. And we both, WPO and UNIDO, since we started in 2017, we share the same objective. I think the industrial development is in the center, but it has to be sustainable and it has to be inclusive. And when we talk about the packaging ecosystem, the packaging industry is in the heart of it. And that's a huge, important industrial sector. And you can imagine the packaging touches on all aspects of life. And for us, this industry serves all other industrial sectors. So that we have no choice but to work with this industry and the ecosystem of this industry. And we believe WPO is a great entity which represents a very interesting membership platform that brings know-how and experience together. And it was a natural partnership to do together. And that's how we landed in 2017 and signed this partnership that we are very happy and proud with.
Yeah, and considering it makes me very happy to hear that packaging is the heart of this process and this development. And we know that along these years of partnership between WPO and UNIDO, some very successful projects were accomplished, like the one in Mongolia, Pakistan, and the MENA region. So can you tell us about these projects and the results and goals of them?
Absolutely. I think when we started our partnership, we wanted to validate the added value of partnership. We were challenging ourselves and WPO on what difference we can make. So we started first with the projects that are ongoing with UNIDO. And you mentioned Mongolia, you mentioned Pakistan, and you mentioned the MENA region. And they are different in terms of the nature of these projects. And of course, the results are different. In some countries, let me maybe pick on Mongolia and Pakistan, where typically we support certain sectors there. So in Mongolia, we're supporting the dairy processing sector. And in Pakistan, we support the apple value chain. But in these two sectors, these products need packages, and they have to integrate in other global supply chains. They need a package. And this is where our support together with WPO was targeting those producers and processors to improve their packaging practices in terms of technology, in terms of the sustainability of these packages, so they become more competitive, they become more sustainable, so they can compete more in the markets where they operate. So these two countries were very direct. We went together with WPO experts to the ground with the producers. The experts from our side and your side did assessment on the packages, on the producers. They gave advice. They promoted certain practices, certain technologies, and these enterprises have access to know-how and technologies. So that's one part of our projects. So for us, the results, we see it when those SMEs in these sectors, they have access to new ideas and new packages and new sustainability solutions, so they can access more markets. And that's how we monitor as part of our overall programs. If I move to the MENA region, it was a completely different story. There we were focusing on replicating what we did with Lebanon. How can we establish more national service centers, more national packaging centers in a number of countries that they become the hub for serving SMEs on the long term? So we were working together with the government of Morocco and Egypt and Jordan, and helping them out to set up their own centers. And that's a long process. It doesn't happen over a year or two, because we have to assess the sector and the needs and the existing capacities. We have to design the governance of these centers. So that's a different approach we are working. And on the side, now I think I saw yesterday that WPO announced that for the first time on the World Stars, you had 27 applicants from the MENA region. So for the last years, no SME was able to compete on the World Stars. But because of the Star Pack competition we established together with Liban back in the region, there were 27 SMEs. And that for us an extremely concrete result of our joint collaboration. So now I hope some of them, they win. We will see when you announce all the results, but that's another result. So in each country, in each region we operate with WPO, it's a different objective, different approach, and the results will be different. But across these projects, we're very proud that there are some concrete results on the ground.
Okay, and that's amazing, really. It calls our attention that we have this 27 registrations entries from the MENA region. It's really an accomplishment, and I'm sure it's a result of this partnership. So considering it has been so successful, and how we can add more valuable to this partnership. And my next question too is, what are the future projects? What do you have in mind for WPO and UNIDO?
Well, that's the question we've been discussing during last year with your board and with your president and the team there, because yeah, we need to bring the partnership to the next level. As I mentioned before, we were working, complementing ongoing projects, and now we have really strong plans to bring it to the next level by having a scale-up approach. So what I mean by this, that we are designing a multi-year programs for certain countries that will have an integrated approach, not only to establish a national packaging center, but to do the whole package. And what I mean by the whole package, our original approach is that we work also on the packaging producing companies and SMEs, the ones producing packages in developing countries, and the users of the packages. So for us, the food industry, for example, and in the middle, help the country to establish the National Packaging Center. So this package is a big program, and that's we are designing for a number of countries that we take them during the coming years through these programs. And that's our plan for the coming at least 3 to 5 years, where we will also approach other partners and donors to scale up this operation, because alone WPO and UNIDO, we are not banks. We don't have that much financial resources. So we call upon partners to invest in these programs because we proved it works, it has an impact. And also on another side, we are trying to focus on the sustainable food packaging. That's an area, as we know, is crucial for the food systems in developing countries, specifically in Africa. And we are trying to design programs that address sustainable food packaging in a specific. So we have a joint action plan we concluded before the end of the year, and we're very excited to work with you all and with your members. And that's another point that we hope to get more and more of your members into this partnership so we can scale up, because scaling up requires more and more resources in the way.
And Ali, I know it's not in our script of questions, but how does UNIDO choose the region to be worked? Is it because of the interest of possible sponsors, or it is because of the need of the region, or both? How do you choose these regions, these areas, or this country?
That's a very interesting question. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are a membership base, so we are made of our member states. So their governments are member of UNIDO. And those governments, they have needs and programs, and they come to UNIDO seeking support in certain areas. And we design programs for these. So not necessarily they all need support in the packaging ecosystem. Each country has a different needs, and each region has a different needs. But we do have some programs for these countries, and then we go and promote for donors to invest in these programs. And this is where it comes. So if we find, if a member state coming saying, we have a critical need for support in improving the packaging sector, and we need this and that in these sectors, we help them to design the need and the program, and then help them to mobilize resources to invest in the delivery of these programs. So it's a demand driven from the member states, but also the interest of those donors who will invest is important. And we play a role, as you need, in the middle to try to provide this demand with the supply of investments. So that's how our business model. So we don't just pick and choose. So if a country is not interested in this topic and they don't need it, we don't go there and do it.
Okay. And have you been seeing that some of the countries, or big part of the countries, are putting, as you mentioned in the beginning, the packaging as a kind of heart of the solution? Are they giving importance to packaging?
I think it's difficult to say that all countries are taking the same direction. There are some countries, yes, they realized, and thanks to the lobbying is being done by the sector itself. And this lobbying, just to give you an example, when you engage a country in the WPO platform, so this center representing the private sector or representing the academia gets exposure to how the globe is addressing packaging as a topic, as an industry, as a solution. So the more they are exposed to this, they can lobby in their own countries to push the agenda of the importance of the packaging sector. And that's why we always need to have a national partner who can champion this. And this is where we focus on the national centers, because they become the actual body to promote the need to invest in the packaging sector, invest in the packaging solutions, and invest in the sustainability of packaging. Of course, in some countries, that's still not on their radar. They still look at the packaging maybe as a small sector here and there. And that's our approach on the long term, by establishing more national centers and establish networks at regional level. This topic remains on the high level of the agenda of the policymakers and the governments.
Okay, wow, that's incredible. So Ali, I think that all the information you shared with us is amazing. But if you have to leave us, me and the audience, the global packaging industry, a final message, a target message that resumes all you have explained to us today, what is this message?
If I imagine that the global packaging community is listening to this with all of its elements, like the industry, the institutions, the WPO, the donors. Again, I would repeat, the packaging is in the heart of all sectors. There is no industrial sector or a product that does not require package. So the more we invest in this area, and the more we make packaging as a solution, and we invest in finding new solutions, the more we have an impact across all sectors. So for me, I will call upon WPO and their members and their partners and UNIDO and our members is actually to look at this in that direction, not to look at the packaging as a standalone sector like any other sector, especially that the know-how in this sector is amazing. The R&D in this sector is huge. The big players in this sector are amazing. We just need to mobilize these know-how and knowledge and experience and make it available for the rest of countries and make it available at a scale through the national centers, so the impact becomes inclusive and not only limited to certain countries and certain economies.
So Ali, thank you very much for this amazing interview, and mostly thank you for putting packaging in our hearts. It's really amazing, especially for us that are packaging lovers, to hear from such an important person as you that packaging is in the heart of the actions. And it is also amazing to listen and to confirm that packaging is a strategic tool to help the sustainable development of countries and societies. And it is even more important to know that all the efforts between WPO and UNIDO in the last 5 years resulted in projects that make the difference to nations, but most important, make the difference to people. What was discussed here today and with all your amazing inputs just reinforce WPO vision, better quality of life through better packaging for more people. And I would add, in a more sustainable way, and in a way that thinks with the brain and feels with the heart. So Ali, thanks a lot for your participation. Thanks for the audience. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you for the opportunity. All the best.
And I hope to see you all in another World Pack Talk show. Thank you very much.
Soon, looking forward. Thank you. Take care.